A British explorer vanished into the Amazon in 1925 with a theory no one believed, and the jungle has kept his secret ever since. The story doesn't begin in the rainforest. It begins in a London drawing room, sometime around 1906, where a weathered geographer named Percy Fawcett sat across from members of the Royal Geographical Society, rolling out maps marked with Indigenous accounts of a lost civilization buried somewhere deep within the Amazon basin. He called it Z, not out of mystery, but out of methodical habit. The letter simply meant it was the final place on his list to find. Most of the men in that room thought him eccentric. Some thought him mad. Fawcett had spent years in South America already, surveying borders, mapping rivers, collecting stories from indigenous peoples who spoke of ruins hidden in regions no European had ever reached. The accounts were consistent. They described stone structures, organized settlements, evidence of a sophisticated culture that had thrived and then vanished, swallowed by the jungle centuries before. Most explorers dismissed such tales as myth or exaggeration. But Fawcett listened differently. He took notes. He believed. By 1920, Fawcett had become obsessed. He was in his 50s now, graying, lean from decades of jungle work, but his mind was sharper than ever. He began planning his final expedition, the one that would prove the existence of Z once and for all. He would take his son Jack, just 22 years old, and Jack's friend Raleigh Rymel, a young surveyor. 3 men, 1 canoe, enough supplies for months. No radio, no way to call for help if things went wrong. Neither Fawcett nor his companions knew yet what the jungle would demand of them. December 1924. Fawcett wrote his final letter to his wife, Nina, before departing. He was calm, methodical, certain. The tone suggests a man at peace with his purpose. He wrote that if he did not return, she should not send a rescue party. The jungle, he understood, was unforgiving to those who entered unprepared. But he was prepared, or so he believed. He sealed the letter and turned toward the river. They departed from a settlement called Cuyaba in December, heading northwest into territory that grew wilder and less mapped with every mile. The Amazon's tributaries braided across the landscape like veins. The jungle pressed in from all sides, green, humid, alive with sound and danger. Fawcett's last confirmed communication came in May 1925, months into their journey. A message reached the outside world. They were proceeding well. They had found evidence. They were close. After May 1925, nothing. Silence. The world waited, then worried, then accepted what silence usually means. Fawcett, his son, and Rymel had vanished into the green. Search parties were sent, but the jungle is vast, incomprehensibly vast. One expedition trying to find 3 men in millions of square miles of unmapped forest might as well be searching for grains of sand on a beach. The searchers found no bodies, no wreckage, no final camp. Just jungle, indifferent and eternal. For decades, rumors circulated. Indigenous tribes in the region reported encounters with white men or descendants of white men. Some claimed Fawcett had found his lost city and chosen to stay, abandoning the outside world for the life he'd always dreamed of. Others whispered darker stories, that he and his companions had been killed, that they'd starved, that the jungle had claimed them in ways that left no trace. The truth, if it existed, remained locked behind the trees. But the search for Z didn't end with Fawcett's disappearance. It transformed. In the decades after 1925, archaeologists began taking the legend seriously in ways they hadn't before. Aerial surveys revealed geometric earthworks hidden beneath the jungle canopy, massive mounds and ditches arranged in deliberate patterns. Satellite imagery, decades later, would show evidence of large pre-Columbian settlements in the Amazon region. Fawcett had been looking for something real. The jungle had been hiding it the whole time. In 2008, a skull was discovered in a remote village in the Mato Grosso region, potentially identified as belonging to one of Fawcett's companions. DNA testing was inconclusive, but the discovery reignited interest in the expedition's fate. The skull suggested that at least one member of the party had survived long enough to reach inhabited areas. But which one? And what happened to the others? The jungle, it seemed, would yield its secrets only in fragments. What we know now is that Fawcett's obsession wasn't delusion. The city he sought, whether it was a single metropolis or a network of settlements, was real. Modern archaeologists have mapped thousands of pre-Columbian earthworks across the Amazon, evidence of complex civilizations that thrived for centuries before European contact. Fawcett simply arrived too late. The cities had been reclaimed by the forest long before he ever set foot in it. The true mystery, then, isn't whether Z existed. It's what happened to Percy Fawcett in those final months in the jungle. Did he find evidence of the city and decide to stay, living out his days in pursuit of an impossible dream? Did disease or accident claim him? Did indigenous peoples, protective of their ancestral lands, prevent him from going further? The jungle keeps these answers close. They may never be known. What remains is Fawcett's legacy, a reminder that obsession and curiosity, when paired with respect for the unknown, can illuminate truths that seem impossible. He was dismissed, doubted, declared mad by the comfortable men of his time. Yet every discovery that has confirmed the existence of advanced Amazonian civilizations has vindicated him. He didn't live to see it, but his final journey changed how we understand the world. And somewhere beneath the canopy, beneath centuries of fallen leaves and vines, the ruins he sought remain, patient, silent, waiting for a world that finally understands what he was trying to tell them. The lost city of Z was never really lost. It was simply waiting to be believed in. Subscribe so you don't miss the